Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Siti Nur Syaira binti Zahari. I am your first tourist guide. So welcome to the Science Museum and Science Center. I can't wait to introduce you to the Science Museum and Science Center. So let's explore together. But before we explore more, let's know first what is the definition of Science Museum. Okay. A museum is a facility that houses a collection of artifacts and other items of artistic, cultural, historical or science value, which means this science museum is devoted primarily to science. Not only that, we also can refer the science museum as the Discovery Center or Technology Museum, as they also emphasize the technology. Okay. Science Museum is also designed to draw our feeling of wonders and curiosity, which are the key to scientific discovery and technology innovation. As you guys already learned about the definition of Science Museum, let's move to the definition of Science Center. Okay, so what is the Science Center? Science Center is a public facilities that are emphasized hand-on approach featuring interactive exhibit that encourage visitors to experiment and explore. Okay, unlike museum that offer visitor an inactive environment when they cannot touch anything, Science Center offer interactive environment where they can move actively and touch and do an experiment, and they or Science Center will contribute for cognitive and affective and physical motor skill acquirement for us. Let's move to the functional purpose of Science Museum and Science Center. Okay, why the Science Museum and Science Center had been built. Okay, firstly is to acquisition and recording of material. Why? Because every new subject that a museum adds to its collection is called an acquisition. Secondly is for preservation of material. The primary purpose of museum is to preserve selected object to prolong the lifetime of that object. Okay, thirdly is for research function, which to extract as much knowledge as possible from the specimen at the Science Museum or Science Center. Okay. Fourth is to exhibition of material, and lastly is for education purpose, as Science Museum and Science Center play an important role in promoting science learning and creativity, which also strengthen and enrich the quality of science for all learners and students. You guys must be curious, right, about how Science Museum or Science Center will develop creative thinking for students. Okay, Science Museum and Science Center will develop creative thinking for students by creative activity implementation at Science Museum. Okay, why? This is because activity can stimulate children's thinking skill like critical thinking skill, creative thinking, and problem solving. Okay, secondly is by do self-exploration in Science Museum. This is because it will lead to a new knowledge, develop imagination, curiosity, and creativity of the student. And lastly, Science Museum or Science Center will provide environment that different from school or classroom, which they will introduce to students about a new world and real world. These are a few activities that can be found in Science Center or Science Museum. You guys must be excited to play it, right? But we will play it together after this. Okay, so now we have already come to the next checkpoint, which is the benefit of Science Museum and Science Center. Okay, firstly is compare and contrast. Museum offer opportunity for children or students to compare and contrast what is important for them, which lead to higher critical thinking skill. Secondly, it will encourage question, as it will increase to student curiosity in the form of question. Thirdly, it will boost language development, as the student will have an exposure to new concept and idea, will carry higher level vocabulary. Fourth, it will encourage a new idea, as the student will discover a new things whether they are familiar with it or not. And lastly, it will stimulate creativity for the student brain. This is the best science museum in Malaysia. Based on the slide, we can see that there are 11 of them. So I hope everyone will have the chance to go to all the science museum and science center. Okay, that's all from me. Let's move to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi! I am Ezra and I will show you one of the integrated activity of Science Center which related to biology. Before that, I think most of you must not know that there is a museum about human body. This is the Bagong Adventure, which is the first human body museum in Indonesia and the largest in Southeast Asia. Let us take a look. How is it? Interesting, right? Now, have you ever wondered why the duration of a person holding their breath in water varies? It is due to their lung capacities. Our respiratory system consists of network organ and tissue. It includes your airways, lung, and blood vessel. During inhalation, our lung volume expands as a result of contraction of the diaphragm and intercostal muscle, hence expanding the thoracic cavity. Due to increase of volume, the pressure will decrease based on Boyle's law. You can see how lung works by making your own model, which teacher and student can do at home. All you need are a clear plastic bottle drink, 2 balloons, tape, and scissors. For this experiment, the movement of the balloon match your breathing. When you breathe in, your lung fill with air just like the balloon inside the bottle did. When you breathe out, the diaphragm contracts, pushing all the air out of your lung, which also happened in your model. However, this model actually represents only one lung. Let's proceed to another integrated activity of Science Center. Before that, most of you have been lied once or twice by a magician, right? Actually, magic actually does not exist. It is only a trick. But do you know what actually happened? There is a science behind the illusion trick, which is known as visual illusion, that defined as the dissociation between physical reality and subjective perception of an object or event. For example, 3D museum and paper ghost illusion. This is because of the disconnection between perception and reality. Visual illusion demonstrates the way in brain can fail to recreate the physical world. Now that you already know the science behind it, you can make your own magic show at home. What you need are a clear empty glass, a piece of paper, marker pen, and water. For this experiment, optical illusion rely on the brain picking up certain signal and giving this signal more importance than other signal in the picture. Optical illusion occurs when the brain interprets the information gathered by the eye, basically visual light, in a way does not match with the reality. In this case, the brain uses its previous knowledge of what familiars to fill in the gap in the picture. This experiment also relates with physics, which is light refraction. Now, you can also become a magician after knowing the science behind it. That's all from me. We'll proceed with Haslini. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. I am Nur Haslini and I will share about integrated activity that available at Science Center specific to physics. So, have you ever wondered, could humanity survive without machine? Or what will happen if there is no liver in our life? For your information, liver is a simple machine. In order to answer these questions, let's proceed to the next slides. So, I want to take all of you to the Seattle, Washington to visit Pacific Science Center. Let's take a look on one of the activity that can be done there.
Taking a giant lever and seeing how distance way out here makes it really easy compared to lift up this weight compared to hold down right here. See, watch. Huh, interesting. All right, now let's move it way out here. All right, now I'll do it with one hand. Yeah, did you see it? Look, I'll lift it up.
It is interesting, right? The principle behind the giant lever can be applied into our teaching and learning session. The giant lever demonstrates the principle of first-class lever, while fulcrum is located in between load and effort. From the giant lever just now, teacher can further elaborate the effect of the distance of effort from the fulcrum. The farther the effort is away from the fulcrum, the easier it is to move the load. Other than that, teacher can also teach two more types of lever and ways to differentiate between them. Unfortunately, due to pandemic COVID-19, there are no field trips allowed. However, teacher and students can experience this at home. We just need a pair of scissors, wheelbarrow, and a stapler. With just these three things, teacher can further elaborate about lever without going to Seattle. You can ask students to classify these things into their class. So, how about we live in the world with no machine or even lever? It is difficult, right? With it, it makes our life much easier. Let's proceed to the next slide. Have you ever wondered what will happen if aeroplane is not invented until today? Yes, we might still be using sea route and riding a ship to go to Mecca. With aeroplane being invented, we managed to save a lot of time. In order for students to learn about the principle behind the aeroplane, let's take a look on this activity.
Interesting. Let's push this. Whoa! I wonder what happens when I plug this hole that's shooting up all the air. Whoa, did you see that? All right. Now I wonder what happens when I move it. Whoa! Oh, look, the ball's way over there. All right.
So, from that activity, students can learn about Bernoulli's principle. The air that coming out with high speed gives lower pressure than the surrounding. Therefore, it keeps the ball in the middle of the stream. If you look closely on that video, you will see that the ball wobbles while it is levitating in mid-air. The ball is attempting to leave the area of low pressure, but the higher air pressure surrounding it force it back into the low pressure area in the midstream. Same goes to the aeroplane wing. The air flowing past the top surface is moving faster than the air flowing past the bottom surface. Therefore, there is low pressure on top compared to the bottom. The difference in pressure results in an outward lifting force. Again, students and teachers can experience this at home. You just need a plastic bottle, knife, hammer, nail, straw, and ping pong ball. Cut the bottle and make a hole on the cap by using a hammer and nail. Make sure the hole is in the same size with the straw. If you have bigger straw, make sure to make bigger hole. Blow the air into straw and you can see the ping pong ball floating. The ping pong ball floating in the midstream area represents the Bernoulli's principle. So, that is all from me. Let's proceed with the second activity.